If I ask you to think about cars and car companies, what names generally come to your head? When we talk to our students, most of the time they have the luxury cars which they respond, right? They say Mercedes, BMW, it's what comes to their mind instantly. Many say Tesla actually nowadays. By the way, fun fact, Tesla is one of the only companies in the automobile industry which has successfully created a large company in the last 50 years. It's also recently become the world's most valuable automobile company. So coming back, how many of us actually think about how many of us actually think about companies which started cars, right? Which were pioneers. So I hope you all know that the reason Henry Ford was in his time the most powerful, the wealthiest man in the world was because Henry Ford brought cars to a cost which was acceptable by the common man. He brought to the common man, to the public. He's the one who enabled mobility in the world to the extent at which it is today. Henry Ford. And the next one which perfected car manufacturing is Toyota, the ones we'll be talking about today. So Toyota was founded by, you pronounce his name as Kiichiro Toyoda, T-O-Y-O-D-A. His father actually already had a company which was into something else, it wasn't into automobiles, and his son wanted to start manufacturing cars. So in the beginning his brother didn't agree, but then they landed up going to the US. Kiichiro, obviously from his name, I hope you all know he's from Japan. Once his dad went to the US and he saw what cars are doing, he came back convinced that this is the way to the future. And that's when he sold units from his company, his dad. He gave his son money to start the car manufacturing company. And in 1937, Toyota, they changed the surname from Toyoda to Toyota to have a more global appeal, started manufacturing cars. Now, for the first 10 years, they only manufactured cars for war purposes, right? And it was in 1947, 10 years later, when they started making passenger vehicles. So that was sort of when and how Toyota started. Now, today, Toyota is present across 170 countries in the world, across the globe. They make 8.5 million units every year. They are the largest automobile company with the largest volume manufactured and sold every year. The second largest is Volkswagen. Now, Toyota and Volkswagen manufacture and sell similar number of units. Okay, but here's something interesting. In 2019, Toyota's sale revenue was $284 billion and its profit was $20.3 billion. Okay, so revenue, profit is 20.3. Same number of units was sold by Volkswagen, but Volkswagen's profit was 2 billion, 10 times lesser than Toyota's. Right? Understand this again, guys. Same number of cars, similar number of cars sold, similar kind of manufacturing and things, but the profit was 10 times different. Why was Toyota's profit so much higher? That's the key to Toyota's success. Toyota has figured out the most efficient way of manufacturing cars. Okay, so what happened? Toyota, but by the way, just before I go ahead, to understand the efficiency, okay, in Japan back in the day, they decided not to follow the West, not to look at US, not to look at Europe. They said, let's just figure out what we can do by ourselves. Stop emulating and copying them. Okay. Toyota said, fine, I agree with that. We agree with that. And it realized when they started introspecting and they started actually doing research on how to make things better, they realized that, okay, if I have one person here and one person in the US, Okay, one person who's working on car manufacturing in the US and one in Japan. The US person has 9 times more productivity than the person in Japan. So they started thinking and they realized, you know what? It's not because the US people are more literate or the Japanese people have less caliber. It was because of the processes surrounding car manufacturing. So what does processes mean? I personally am a huge believer that if you want to run a company, you need to have systems in place. Systems means you have set up things in such a manner that with human intervention, if you replace humans, the systems still stay the same. So, for example, it's also called standard operating procedure sometimes, right? So, if the systems in the US were better, automatically the efficiency of that person increases tenfold, right? And in this case, ninefold. So, Toyota realized, okay, people are the same, but our processes are way weaker than that of the states. So they started developing processes and they went all out. Most of us who have studied commerce would have heard about this term called TQM, Total Quality Management, and that was sort of perfected by Toyota. They spent billions of dollars every year into perfecting all these processes. They spend $9 billion per year in research just to stay ahead of the game. And you can see that in the profits, they show that. Improving on total quality management, they started following systems and processes such as JIT. I don't know if any of you have heard just in time. Just in time is a process which says what? Back in the day when you used to manufacture something, let's say I was selling these benches, okay? If I'm a manufacturer, I'll make the benches in advance, pray for a seller to come, and then I'll sell. But the flaw in that plan is that I have to spend a lot of money, I have to anticipate demand, I have to keep this inventory in my warehouse, all of this is costing me money, and I pray and hope that people come and buy enough that all of this is sold out. Not that easy. Just in time is a system which says that, okay, you know how to make benches? Yes. Don't make them. Okay. Let somebody come, let somebody give you an order, you make those many benches very quickly, sell it off. How does this help? Because one, I don't have to make innumerable quantities of benches in the beginning. Two, I don't have to store it in a warehouse and spend more money on it. And three, I'm not praying and hoping for demand to come and actually buyers to come and purchase them. What instead I'm doing is, somebody comes, he says, I want these many benches, I know the process, I make it quickly and I sell it off. No extra quantity, no storage, no hoping for people to come and buy. And that is why these kind of systems have revolutionized these manufacturing companies. And that's what just in time is. That's what Toyota further perfected. There are other things. So Toyota introduced Kaizen. Kaizen is, it was total participation from employees, and they would incentivize employees that, listen, if you come and give me good suggestions, you help improve the process, we will pay you, we will compensate you for that. So that increased their efficiency further. So basically, I'm introducing a lot of random terms for many of you all, but yeah, TQM, JIT, Kaizen, all these were processes that Toyota introduced well, and that has led to eventual difference between the profits of Toyota and Volkswagen. So, coming to today, the present, right? Where is Toyota heading? Most of the people in the mobility sector know that we are heading towards the green world. We are heading towards a more environmental friendly kind of industries, right? Obviously, when I again say electric vehicles, everybody thinks of Tesla. But did you know that Toyota has actually been in this game for a long time, for over a decade? Till 2016, 4 years ago, they were actually investors in Tesla at 27%. Toyota had invested in Tesla. But in 2016, obviously they divested because they knew that, okay, if Toyota is also doing electric vehicles, Tesla is also doing electric vehicles, they'll be competitors. But the point is that Toyota has been ahead of the game. I don't know if many of you would have heard it or not, but it's quite famous. There's a hybrid car called the Toyota Prius. And it was one of the first hybrid cars. Hybrid meaning they would use the normal cars, that the internal combustion engine, as well as electricity wherever possible to increase fuel efficiency and to basically reduce emissions. The Prius was one of the best hybrid cars in the world. So Toyota is already moving towards it and has been doing it for quite some time. Coming back to India. So Toyota entered India in 1997. They entered India in the form of a joint venture with the Kirloskar Group. And Toyota had 89% control over the venture. So just for you all to know the ranking in India for cars, right? It is Maruti Suzuki, Honda, Mahindra, and then Toyota. And Toyota had 5% stake in Maruti. In fact, it had 2.8% stake in Yamaha so that they can also help with the expansion of the two-wheeler market. So Toyota has, it's been in India. India has become its 10th largest market of the world. So if you understand the whole process, right? Toyota started because the founder had a vision that the cars are going to be the future. They entered and they increased efficiency to a point where they became the leaders of the world, not of their country. They've been the leaders for the longest time. They've been making really, really, really good financial, strong profits. And now that they're seeing it's going into the electric world and to the green world, they're also at the top of that game. So Toyota is hopefully here to stay with the way it's been delivering promises as well as the right kind of, they're delivering the right kind of need for the hour for the world as a whole. Hopefully Toyota will sustain, and the way it's going, it doesn't look like there's any stopping to them. So if you like this video, if you understand anything, if you would like to understand anything about any other case study, please do let us know. Please share, comment and subscribe, and thank you so much.